as far as the Royal Rumble goes, we are very, very deep. We are very, very
Yeah, I
deep.
mean, we're 2 weeks away from this thing.
I mean, last night my main impression that I got off of Raw, which I thought this was a very, very solid Raw, but my
Mhm.
impression when we see like the WrestleMania rematch with Drew and Seth, and then we see the haluva kick come from Sammy, we're also seeing Karrion Kross creep backstage on some of these guys.
Yeah.
We're in for a real treat. Like for sure, without a doubt, we are in for a real treat when it comes to some of the stories that are going to come after Royal Rumble as well.
For sure.
I'm excited for the Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah, me too.
I think the Royal Rumble is going to be very good. It's very stacked.
Mhm.
However, I do have one issue with the men's Royal Rumble.
And what's that? What's your gripe?
My gripe with the men's Royal Rumble is that all the focus will be on some of these key names that we're already seeing on TV. Meaning,
Instead of like somebody on a lower scale, not being
yes.
able to go further.
So, for example, like one of my biggest things I don't like is when it becomes a little too predictable. And right now, WWE is kind of showing their cards a little bit with the they're showing their cards a little bit with like, okay, well, Sammy and Seth and Drew, Cena,
Mhm.
Roman Reigns, Punk, like all of these top names are in the Royal Rumble, and I feel like when it comes down to like the bottom 6 or the bottom 4, it's gonna be one of those guys. Meaning we're gonna have a whole bunch of random people enter the Royal Rumble. It might be Santos Escobar or Karrion Kross, and then some of those guys might just get eliminated and they're just a placeholder.
See, I feel a little bit different.
What do you think?
So I think, like, somebody like Karrion Kross, and I know you just used him as somewhat of an example. I don't know, dude. Like, honestly, like seeing what Karrion Kross is doing on TV right now, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes deep in the Rumble. Now, do I agree with you under the circumstance? Like, it probably will be those big names that kind of last to like the final for sure. I think that's just naturally going to happen. But I think that's you kind of almost need that to happen strictly based off the stories you've been telling, because let's be real, I mean, the shock factor behind the Royal Rumble is definitely not what it used to be. I mean, we talked about like the surprises and stuff like that, but I think even just the match itself, and like let's be real here, how do you think the fans would react if somebody like Santos right now won the Royal Rumble? That's a question towards you.
I think how I would react and how the fans would react would be differently because it would be random as hell. I would
Yeah,
appreciate it. I would love a random ass Royal
for
Rumble
sure.
win. I don't want my Royal Rumble winner to be the same people that it always is. You know what I mean? So
For sure, but then you have to take into account like somebody like CM Punk who's never actually won a Rumble. So regardless, if you want, I mean, it's not as shocking, but it is in the same time, because it's like, oh, that guy never won it, and he's been around for such a long time, and that guy never won the Royal Rumble. Really?
can I say
I mean,
something though?
yeah, for sure.
I've this is where people are probably gonna like not agree with me and shit, and that's fine. But I feel like personally speaking, the
Mhm.
Royal Rumble should never be used for a veteran. I never agreed with the concept. Royal Rumbles, King of the Ring, Money in the Banks, Elimination Chamber, like those matches that guarantee like a major opportunity. I feel like those should always be saved for people. John Cena and CM Punk have the name, brand, and value alone where they don't need to win the Royal Rumble. And people forget that you can challenge Roman Reigns or you can challenge Gunther. And I think this year would be really cool for the winner to go after Gunther.
Yeah, which I think is actually going to happen.
But everybody in the IWC is under the belief that it's gonna be Cody going after, or John Cena winning and going after Cody, and like
Yeah,
John
I feel
Cena
the
doesn't need to
opposite.
do that. Yeah, so it's like I don't know. Like for me personally, I'm not trying to be like a complainer, but holy shit, like to a certain extent, I do feel like they got to do something. Like
Well, for sure. I mean, I hear you and like the veteran stuff, and saying the King of the Ring and whatnot. And I think for quite some time that's kind of been the case. If you look at Gunther and the way he was utilized in the King of the Ring this last time around, the Elimination Chamber has always kind of been used to potentially build somebody into a really big feud. If you look, let's take Kofi Mania for example. Those matches do that. I think the Royal Rumble is really the one thing that has always been prioritized around the main event stars, right? I think if you look back at the history of the Rumble, it's always been to make sure that the main event is set and it makes sense.
My brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm cutting you the fuck off.
Go ahead.
Because these are people who are already stars.
The thing is, though, like, okay, I hear you, but the Elimination Chamber happens a month after. So, with that being said, you're trying to tell me that, okay, we're gonna start, and we're gonna make sure that one of the main events is set with potentially the Royal Rumble, and it's some random ass winner, right? We go into the Elimination Chamber, and then what? They're challenging for another title shot. And what you just said a moment ago was that, hey, I don't think that these stars should be utilized in the Elimination Chamber, the King of the Ring, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what do you want? None of these veteran stars to have a shot at the title like they need to?
Okay, so then split it up. Let the winner of the Royal Rumble become a young up-and-coming talent, and let the Elimination Chamber be 6 individuals who are completely stacked. Make that Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus John Cena versus Kevin Owens.
What you can do. You can do that. I wouldn't be mad at that.
I'd rather have that happen then. But you gotta, at the very minimum, Elimination Chamber, by the way, should just be a match type. It shouldn't be a freaking pay-per-view event. I think it's stupid. They should just call it the pay-per-view, No Way Out, and then have 2 Elimination Chamber matches, and that's it.
Yeah, I can agree with.
I'm tired of this shit. But like, yeah, 100% the Royal Rumble should be the thing where, hey, somebody shocks the world and completely does it.
Well, and let's be real here. That hasn't happened since Rey Mysterio. In 2006.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. When Shinsuke Nakamura won the Royal
Rumble,
I was about
to say Shinsuke, and yeah, okay.
That was shocking. But then that went on to WrestleMania 34.
Yeah, I mean, look at how bad that was.
But we're talking about a different booker now, so it's like
this is true.
A different booker. Triple H should know a little bit better here. And I'm just saying, listen, you're gonna do tournaments. You're gonna do all these different things. You're gonna do, You're going to do the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble should always be saved for creating a new star. And the thing is, what this Royal Rumble needs, at the very, very minimum, what I would do, if I would be 100% honest with you, I think maybe this is the Royal Rumble with, Roman Reigns is in there. I would actually love to see them recreate the Maven Undertaker spot with somebody.
Oh, yeah,
where
somebody's shocking it. Yeah.
And then I would love for that to turn into a program for Roman Reigns, which maybe this could be the time where they have Jacob Fatu be the guy who eliminates Roman Reigns or something.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be as shocking, though, because a lot of people would expect that. The cool thing about that Maven Undertaker thing is nobody expected Maven to throw him over the top rope.
Brother, I don't think people would expect Jacob Fatu to throw out Roman Reigns.
I'd have to disagree with you because I feel like the trajectory that Jacob Fatu's on only speaks to him and Roman potentially feuding. So that would be the most least shocking thing to me.
Okay, so maybe the most shocking would be grabbing fucking Tozawa, throwing Roman Reigns out of the fucking ring.
And would get me. That would pop me.
Yeah, it would pop you, but it would lead to nothing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Tozawa's been completely, like, if you go look at his work in Japan versus what it is in America, Tozawa, he's been relegated to a comedy gimmick, and he's probably not even going to be.
Yeah, but that dude was amazing.
But Tozawa could go, even when he was in 205 Live, like, that guy can go. But he was never really given the seriousness that he should have, and that's WWE's fault, and that continues to be WWE's fault. But it is what it is. There is a couple super chats that I would like to address. Myra dropped to $4.99. The Men's Royal Rumble is finally stepping it up. Layers of storylines. Did Drew forget about Jay and the WWE marketing machine behind Penta? So this is the truth about the Royal Rumble. This is where I do agree with you, and obviously I agree with Myra here. Like, I appreciate the fact that there's this many layers going into the Royal Rumble. This Royal Rumble specifically is, and I remember talking to you about this last year about the Royal Rumble, but Royal Rumble should always have stories integrated into the match. And this is one where I think across all sectors of the match, there's definitely going to be some heavy layers into it.
For sure. Even when you look at like the smaller stuff, with the Karrion Crosses and the Santos Escobars, like their storylines will be played out. You got to think somebody like Carmelo Hayes entering, that whole United States picture. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of stories being told in this Rumble, more than just the main event.
Yes.